Starting your career in commercial real estate can be exciting, but also really overwhelming. And looking back on my first year in this business over a decade ago, there are definitely some things I wish someone had told me before I got started. And while everyone's experience will be a little bit different, there are some universal truths about working in this business that can help you navigate those early years and avoid some of the biggest mistakes that I made when I was first getting started. So in this video, I want to walk through 5 things I wish I knew during my first year in commercial real estate and what to prepare yourself for if you're just starting out in this industry. So the first thing I wish someone had told me before I started working in this business is that your experience with real estate in general can vary a lot based on company culture. A really bad boss can make your life absolutely miserable, even if you're working on interesting deals and getting paid well, and a great boss can make going to work every day a lot more fun and can push you to accomplish things that you didn't know were possible. The number of hours you're expected to spend at work will also depend very heavily on company culture, and while some firms expect their analysts to be in the office until 9 or 10 p.m. on a regular basis, others have a lot more reasonable expectations around work-life balance. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing to work long hours, especially early in your career when you're trying to learn as much as possible in the shortest period of time, but just know that your first job in commercial real estate isn't necessarily indicative of what it would be like to work at any firm in the industry, and you can't really make generalizations that would be applicable to all companies. Now, the second thing I wish I knew during my first year in the business is that some people in this industry are going to try to tear you down, and you can't take that personally. When I was first starting out, I found myself in a few situations where I didn't know something or someone that a person thought I should have, and it led to that person laughing at me, making fun of me, or in one case, threatening to have me fired. In some environments, people might yell at you or say things that make you feel small, and unfortunately, that comes with the territory in this business for a lot of people, especially when you're working in high-pressure, transaction-focused roles. And even though this feels pretty terrible in the moment, my biggest piece of advice in these scenarios is to remove yourself from the situation entirely and take a few minutes to cool down rather than fighting back and trying to win an argument. In a lot of cases, this can actually be a great way to earn the respect of other people on your team that watch you take the high road while someone a lot older than you, who's supposed to be a lot more mature than you, ends up throwing a tantrum. In a lot of high finance type industries, this is a lot more common than you'd think, and unfortunately, this is something you want to be prepared for if you're trying to make your way in this industry. Now, the third thing I wish I had done in my first year in commercial real estate is to go in with a primary focus on making people's lives easier, not just getting my work done. The way you go from being seen as just a cost center that's learning the business to someone who can actually be an asset to a team is by doing the work that other people either can't or won't do, and being someone who can reliably produce good work without being babysat. Be the person in the room that people can count on to create investment materials without spelling errors or to create models without careless mistakes so they don't need to spend hours proofreading your work. Be the person that reaches out to the client or the broker to ask questions directly rather than just telling your boss that you don't have enough information, and take it upon yourself to solve problems rather than just waiting for assignments. If you really want to be seen as a valuable member of a team very quickly, if you can take the time to proactively point out things worth noticing on a set of T12 financials or a rent roll when you send off an underwriting model to your boss, this will also set you apart from other analysts on your team. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten was in a performance review I had at my first year in a job working for a group of guys that I really respected, and the feedback I got from the founder of the company was to think about things from my perspective. And what he meant by that is to think about the decisions that I would make or the way I'd frame an investment opportunity if I was the one that owned the company, which completely transformed the way that I worked on a day-to-day basis going forward. It takes a huge mindset shift to go from college student where you're constantly being told what to do to a productive member of a team where you're not in a controlled environment all the time, and going in with an attitude of being useful rather than just getting your daily tasks done will help you stand out and advance your career a lot faster. Now, the fourth thing I wish I had done more of during my first year in this industry is seeking out mentorship and advice from people further ahead of me, both within my own company and outside of it. The first few years of your career are some of the easiest times to make a pivot if you realize you're not on the right path, and it only gets harder to change directions as you get more established over time. And in your first few years out of school, a lot of people are going to be willing and actually excited to take you under their wing and give you advice, even people you don't directly work with, because these people are going to remember what it was like to be in your shoes. And when you get these types of opportunities, ask these people about their own career paths, what they wish they had done differently, and what advice they have for you to get where you want to go. These types of conversations can also help you figure out what you actually want to do in this industry long term, since it's really hard to sample every aspect of this business yourself. And while internal relationships with your manager or coworkers can be helpful, some of the biggest unlocks in your career are going to come from relationships with people outside of the company that you work for. So if you could take some extra time on nights and weekends to show up to conferences and networking events, the more quickly you're likely to see success in commercial real estate. Now, finally, the last thing I wish I had known during my first year in this industry is that it's okay to pivot quickly when you know something isn't the right fit. A lot of people just cannot bear the thought of leaving a job before they put in 2, 3, or even 4 years with the same company. But when you're in your early 20s and starting your career, time is extremely valuable. And this means that if something really isn't the right fit and another opportunity comes up that's significantly better, don't be afraid to take the leap, even if you've only been in your current role for 9 to 18 months. Most employers will be pretty forgiving to young people fresh out of school who are still trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, and hiring managers understand that it sometimes takes a few tries to find the right fit. And the sooner you can pursue what you're really interested in, the sooner you'll build the skills and the network you'll need to be successful in that part of the industry, and there's no need to wait an arbitrary amount of time to start that process. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean you should be job hopping every 6 months, and the grass isn't always greener at a different company, but if you're genuinely unhappy or you feel like you're not learning in your current role, staying put just to avoid a short stint on your resume usually isn't worth it. So I hope this is helpful if you're just getting started in this industry, and if you haven't landed that first job yet, or you're trying to transition into a different part of commercial real estate, and you want to make sure you have the technical skills you'll need to land interviews and pass an Excel modeling exam that might be given to you during the process, make sure to check out our all-in-one membership training platform, Breaking the CRE Academy. A membership to the Academy will give you instant access to over 120 hours of video training on real estate financial modeling and analysis. You'll get access to hundreds of practice Excel interview exam questions, sample acquisition case studies, and you'll also get access to the Breaking the CRE Analyst Certification exam, which covers topics like real estate pro forma and development modeling, commercial real estate lease modeling, equity waterfall modeling, and many other real estate financial analysis concepts that will help you prove to employers that you have what it takes to tackle the responsibilities of an analyst or associate at a top real estate firm. And if you like this video and want to see more career-focused content on the channel, make sure to hit that like button and let me know, and let me know in the comments what other career-related topics you'd like to see covered in a future video. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to see more videos like this every single week, and I'll see you in the next video.